Artichoke. We are live for real this time. I promise it's recording. We're here for take two with one of our homegrown counter strikers here in the North American region. Believe he's even represented the United States of America when playing for them at one point. Today I've got John MDS Marin here with me. How are we doing today, John?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Thank you for having me.
Yes, and well, it was an unfortunate set of circumstances. We recorded a few weeks ago, or so we thought, and Big D may have dropped the ball, and we had literally. I mean, people. I cannot. I don't want to build this up too much here and put some pressure on you by any means, but we had one of the most life-changing conversations one could have ever had. So it's a real bummer you all got to miss out on it. But I'm thrilled that you came back through here and are hanging out and yapping with us. Are you getting excited for Knoxville coming up next weekend?
Hell yeah, man. I always love playing on LAN. It's like a completely different game than playing online.
Yeah, it really is. Sorry, I'm sweaty here. I've been moving around this morning, and I don't know if you can tell by all these chins I got, but we're not exactly in shape, so easy sweats. But yeah, I'm excited for LAN as well. I'm leaving for Atlanta tomorrow, but let's dive into the MDS lore, because that's what some of these people are here for, and then we'll kind of talk a little more broadly about Counter-Strike as a whole. But what are your earliest memories of gaming, and how did they lead you to Counter-Strike?
My earliest memories of gaming, how they led me to Counter-Strike. So my first memory of gaming was playing like the sports games with my brother on like PlayStation. So like NFL Game Day, NBA games like that, NHL. We'd play a lot of those games. I was always like really competitive with my brother. We always used to play and kind of just like, we'd get into like fights and stuff over, who was winning. And just kind of was just a very like casual gamer for like the large majority of my early life. Mostly it was just playing outside and stuff like that. It wasn't until I was 12 when my brother was kept in contact with an old friend of his that we had from Pennsylvania, where we used to live, and they kept in contact online, and they started playing Counter-Strike. At the time, we only had one computer in our household, so I would just like sit behind him, like watch him play, and it was very like intriguing to me, right? Like I really liked watching him play the game, so I would sneak on when I could. Like I didn't get much time to play because we only had one computer. He was the older brother, so he was always getting on there before me. But whenever I had time, I would sneak on and play, and I just started playing the game as much as I could, and I just like really loved it. Like I just loved I loved the idea that everybody was on the same playing field as soon as the game starts, right? There's no like advantages that you can get like other games. Like you can like either, or you start at an advantage with like a better gun or whatever that case might be. So yeah, so I just kept playing the game and started playing it on my own and just kind of went from there.
Another tally for the older brother category for sure. That's the old classic. Was your brother way better at the game than you for a while there? Like, did it take you a while to?
He was at first, but it didn't take me a while. Like, cause I started playing with him and his buddies, and they were all older than me. It probably took about like 4 or 5 months before I was just kind of like better than all of them. Um, he definitely was in the beginning though, and like those like 4 or 5 months that he was better than me, he always let me know. Like I remember like we would go to like we go to these like PC like LAN cafes basically to just go play at, and we'd play like one-on-one like in the beginning, and he would destroy me. But over time, I started to get better and better, and then next thing you knew, I was destroying him. So
And then he never came back. He probably quit after that, didn't he?
He actually, well, I mean, he did play. He never played seriously though. He only just played casually. Like he never got into the competitive part of the game at all.
It's weird to think that when like those early days of 1.6 and whatnot, like even Source, like the competitive part of Counter Strike was just such like just one small fraction of the community. Like so many people played Counter Strike and had all these different mods and modes and everything. Did you jump straight into playing it like competitively, or were you like
No, 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 no.
what kind of mods were you
So
playing and doing?
I mean, I was just playing like for fun with like public servers. You know, the big 32, 64 man Dust 2 servers I would play in. Um, yeah, I did play like I played ESEA Pugs in 1.6, and I think I played like 1 or 2 seasons of Open with some random people, just kind of like for fun. Um, but I never started actually playing competitively until like 2020, pretty much. So I guess I was
Really?
like a late bloomer. Yeah, I was a late bloomer, you could say. I was just always just a casual player, right? Like I was good, and I had the dream of being, playing against the best players, but I never really like pursued it until later in life, right? Like I kind of wanted to prioritize real life first before I went into Counter Strike. So
Probably a good idea. I've prioritized Counter Strike first, and let me tell you, it does not work out as well as you would think in this country. But I'm still grateful to be where I am. But yeah, I mean, I think that's a wise move. Well, and I think that's a testament as well to like you're kind of like never too old to play this game.
oh
Like,
yeah, like you know how these people are, how these kids are, and like Face It, and just in this community and stuff. Like I get a lot of people say, like a lot of people when they want to talk, when they want to talk shit, they always bring up the age, right? Like, oh, you're 30, you're 32, right? But like the way I see it, it's like this is the best time to be gaming. Like I feel like when you're younger, that's when you should be going out and like actually experiencing life and having life
it
experiences
is.
and
That's what you should be doing.
not wasting all your young years just like on the computer playing games, right? So I always thought that was just kind of funny when people say that to me, but it is what it is. It's just a lot of projection on their part anyway. So
Yeah, I think it is a lot of projection on their part. It, it is something. It's like I think you're right. Like your 30s really should be like kind of your prime time for getting to into gaming and stuff because, like you said, like like I wasted most of my 20s and like early adulthood just gaming or being at the bar, right? And it's like now I'm having to kind of reconcile as I'm getting to my mid 30s like oh, I might have like wasted my best years on just like being a dipshit, right? And it's like I had a good time and I feel like I don't live with regrets or like some great amount of shame, but like that's something to reconcile. So like the idea that gaming is a young man's game is a really bizarre thing to me. Like, I'm looking forward to when we have the like elderly senior citizen league someday because like every single every single old folks home is gonna have a built-in esports arena. I guarantee it someday.
I could see that. I could definitely see that. I mean, of course, like, of course, there's going to be a ceiling, right? And it's definitely true that in terms of just your raw skill, like it's going to peak in your early 20s, right? That's definitely true. And if you are just some prodigy, right, that's just rising up, then like, of course, right? Of course, pour your life into the game, go for that, right? But I just
Sure.
feel like if you're not, right, like even if you're just like a normal like ECL player level, right, like I don't think it's very wise to just pour like everything into Counter Strike because Counter Strike is going to end one day, and when it
Oh.
ends, what are you gonna do, right? And when I say Counter-Strike's gonna end, I mean like for each individual person, right? Like
Oh,
there's gonna come a time, yeah,
okay.
like there's gonna come a time when you're not going to be able to play the game anymore the way you want to, right? Whether it be from your own volition or outside circumstances, or you're not good enough anymore, or you can't afford to do it financially anymore, like whatever the case might be, right? So I think it's just really important to kind of, especially like in our scene in NA, because of just the state of things, right? You got a few kind of outliers here and there, and there's always going to be outliers in anything in life, but majority of people should definitely focus on making sure that their actual lives are in order. And then once your life is in order, then go ahead, compete, play the game, do what you got to do. Because, you know, like me, right? I love to play the game. It's awesome. I have a passion for competing, right? But I'm not just going to throw everything into one basket. I'm not going to put all my eggs in one basket, right? I'm going to make sure that I have a plan B. I have a plan A, right? I have other options other than this game going on in my life. So, yeah, I think that's something that's like really important for a lot of people to kind of understand, and just understand that Counter Strike is not everything. So,
It isn't everything, and like I said, I've spent so much of my time like playing it that I did put all my eggs into like one basket, thinking, okay, if I play enough of this game, I will go pro and I'll make it. And I never made it out of open, right? Like, and so like I've had to come to terms with that, and like you said, you have to come to the realization the game isn't everything. You actually will become better at the game when you
yes.
realize it's just a fucking game. Like,
Yeah, that's so true. That is so true.
the days that I like you catch yourself coming off of like a 2 or 3 day break from Counter-Strike, and you will be refreshed when you play it, because you've like taken that little bit of mental reset. And now when you're coming back to, or like if you've been grinding for months or whatever, like take a week or two off, take a couple weeks off, and when you come back to it, you'll be stronger than ever, because you'll be excited to play this game that you like playing, instead of being like, all right, guys, I have to win every single round or else I'm never
Hmm.
making it to the major. Like,
Yeah, and a lot of people also severely underestimate the nervous system fatigue that accumulates from playing this game, especially when you're playing competitively and you're playing intensely. Your nervous system can't operate at 100% all day, every day. And eventually there's going to be a crash, right? So, like, if you're just sitting there playing all day, every day, you're playing intensely every day, and you're just chugging energy drinks to keep yourself going, right? There's going to be a crash eventually, right? Maybe it just depends on the person in terms of the time it'll take for that crash to occur, but it will happen eventually, right? Um, so yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Like, it's just really important to make sure that your outside of the game life is in order, because, like you said, it's going to make you a better player. It's going to make you more confident, right? Like, if I just wake up every day at 4 p.m., roll out of bed, right, eat some junk food, play 12 face of pugs in a row, roll back to sleep, play some FPL, repeat, I'm not gonna feel good about myself, right? Like,
no.
I'm not. Maybe my mechanical skills will be kind of on point because I'm just playing all day every day. But the moment something hard happens, the moment there's some adversity mentally in this game, I'm just gonna give up and I'm
Right.
gonna crash, right? Because I don't feel good about myself. I have no confidence in myself because I haven't done anything. I haven't accomplished anything in my day. I haven't taken care of myself. I haven't learned something new, expanded my horizon in some way, shape, or form, right? So it's just really important to make sure that you are doing these things outside of the game, because it's going to give you the confidence in the game,
Well,
and it's going to give you that clarity in your mind as well, like as you mentioned.
and to piggyback on that too, like the the idea of like having your life situated outside of the game isn't like a matter of like, make sure you're rich and buff and have a beautiful family before you decide to get into the game, right? It's like,
Right.
all those things you mentioned, like I really want to highlight those. It's having a positive routine where your daily life is like, I'm going to learn something new. I'm waking up and going to sleep on a schedule. Like I'm practicing these daily habits that I know are productive and positive for me. And those can look different for very many different people, right? Like it's not a one size fits all, but like it's really important to be like challenging yourself to learn new things and like I don't know, just living life a little bit so that when you come to the game, you're like, this is just a game and that's all it is. And I'm just going to play the game because it's a game. And we all love the game deeply. Like, that's why we all have a great connection to it. But, like, it is very, very important. I cannot stress to you enough, as somebody who was junk food, energy drinks, 12 pugs a day for many years in a row, like it just leaves you feeling really hollow and shitty. And like you said, there's science behind the fact that you're not going to go pro playing that way because you are literally exhausting yourself before you can ever like really scale up and experience growth as a player. So I
Exactly.
think that's all really good advice.
Well said. Well said, Big D.
No, well said, MDS. That's you, dude. That's this is your advice. I'm living and learning, but it's uh it's better to try to follow this advice when you're younger, I feel like. And it's not like we got it figured out in our 30s by any means, right?
Not at all. Not at all.
My God.
We were we were saying this in the DM the other day. The older I get, the less I feel like I know.
Yeah. That's what I talk to my dad about all the time is the fact that like the older you get, like there's something about like once you get to your 30s, like if you don't realize that you don't know everything except the like little, like you get more confident in the stuff that you do know because you realize how much you don't know, and then you're like, oh, but this stuff that I do know about, I do really know about this stuff, so I can like stay focused on this corner that I'm in, right, and just stay learning. But like there's definitely people out there that don't figure it out by the time that they're 30 and they're like sad people and they still think
Yeah.
they know everything, and it's really hard to
Yeah.
watch those people. But maybe someday they'll figure it out. You gotta hope.
You hope so, right? You would hope so. Eventually, something will happen to them that'll kind of shift their perspective. So,
Well, let's get back to the John Marin lore here. Let's when you started competing, and what made you want to start competing, like taking Counter Strike more seriously, and then how did that lead you to being here on Chicken Coop with this squadron here today?
yeah. So, like I said, I just played casually for many moons now, right? Like, played casually completely. Um, Joined the military. Was in the military for 5 years. Didn't touch the game at all during this period. Didn't really touch any games at all during this period, other than maybe like Madden games like that, NBA 2K. But spent 5 years in the military. Got out, and in 2018, one of my buddies that I used to play with, like when I was a kid, he sent me a stream of the Boston Major, the E League Boston Major, where Cloud9 won, and I was just watching it, and I was like, holy shit, this is crazy. Like, I remember when I was watching this game before, it was just, they were playing in hotel lobbies and for, jump change. And now they got big stages. They're playing for, I think it was like $500,000, something like that at that time. Big fan base, just a lot of hype around it, really intense games, and just at that time, a very high level of play. Obviously, compared to now, that level of play would be considered like low level, but at that time, it was a very high level of play. Um, and it just kind of, watching it just kind of reignited something in me, right? I was like, man, I always really loved this game. I always had a passion to compete and be better, but I just never took it seriously. I never took myself seriously in that sense. So that's when I just started playing again, So I just started playing with some of my old buddies again. I think I played like a few seasons of Open with them at that time, but it wasn't anything serious, right? We were just playing, like just to play, have fun. But then eventually, after like 3 or 4 seasons of Open with them, I wanted to. Something in me told me like, I want to see how far I can actually get, because I know I have this. I know I have this skill within me. Maybe I'm not the best player in the world, but I know I have the skill to compete with the best players. So I want to see how far I can actually take it, right? Because the game is not just about your skill, right? Like a lot of it and progressing is about just knowledge and mental fortitude, being able to just keep going after losses and losses and getting beat down and beat down. So I just decided that, I wanted to see how far I could go. So that's when I just kind of put myself out there, joined some IM team. Uh, Within like 2 weeks, they wanted me to be IGL because they were just saying that like I knew the most or whatever. Um, so then from there, I just kind of kept going, and I don't know. I just never looked back, right? I just because in my mind it was I want to get to the highest level. Like I'll stop when I feel like I can't get any better. That was like my mindset, right? And that has now led me to here 5 years later at a point where I still think I can get better, right? I still think I can reach a higher level of play. I think chicken coop right now, right? I think that we're not quite there yet where we want to be, but we're this close, right? We're this close. Um, we're still like a relatively new team. We've been putting in a good amount of work. Um, Not as much as we would like, because this last month we just had so many matches that we've barely practiced at all. Um, but we're this close, and we're getting 1% better every day, right? And to me, that's all that matters. It's just getting 1% better every single day. So that's how it led me to this point where I'm at now, because I just wanted to reach the highest level I possibly could, right? Like I never really cared about being like a pro or just getting on some top team or whatever. Like, I mean, that would be awesome, right? But to me, the joy was always in the process, especially when it comes to team building, right? Like that is what makes me feel passionate, is the team building aspect, right? I've never been the type of person that in any part of my life, whether it be Counter-Strike, work, relationships, I've never been the type of person that just wants to seek the next greener pasture, right? Like I want to build something. I want to get people around me that are like-minded and have the same mindset, the same mentality as me, and work with them for as long as I can, and see how far I can see how far I can develop these people, see how far I can develop myself, right? So that honestly is what has really kept me going throughout all of this. Because to be honest with you, when it comes to just the game itself, like I love Counter Strike, don't get me wrong, but like if it wasn't for this team and the visions that we have, I don't think I would be playing anymore. Because to like that, in terms of just playing a video game, right? There's a lot of better things I could be doing right now with my time. But what's what I what's not better is just building this team, right? Like that's what keeps me going, right? Honestly, like just that whole process of being, with these guys. Like I love these guys around me on my team. We share a common goal. We get through issues together. We talk about things openly. We don't bring each other down. We try to lift each other up. When things get tough, we try to find solutions, right? That to me is what keeps me going. That's what keeps me motivated to push to that next level, because of these people around me. Not even about the game and reach. I want to reach the major. Of course, I want to reach the major, right? I think I saw some somebody made some post, some like data analytics said we had like a 0.4% chance to reach the major, right? It's like, it's
I saw that.
I don't, did you see that? Yeah.
Yeah, I
You see
saw
that? It's
that.
like, I saw that and I was like, man, that's a small chance, but hey, any chance is a chance, right? Like
Right.
with this VRS, we got these lands coming up. You never know, right? Um, but I don't focus on that result per se, like that goal. I just focus on how can we be the best versions of ourselves every single day. And sometimes we're not going to be that. Sometimes we're gonna have to tweak some things. We're gonna have to look into why we weren't that way. But if we can end every day, even if we fell short that day in some way, shape, or form, if we can end every day with a clear goal and a clear path for the future by the end of that day, then that to me is a win. It's a win because it's all about the process, right? This whole game, building teams, competing, reaching a high level, it's just all just a long process. That's all it is. And I think if you just commit to that process and you keep a positive mentality and you keep a positive attitude too, right? I think that's another thing that is overlooked a lot, is having a positive attitude. People are very quick to just complain, give up, blame everything but themselves, right? You can't do that. You got to keep your attitude in line. You got to keep yourself in line. So, yeah, so to answer your question, that is what has kind of brought me here, and that's what keeps me going every day. So,
God, what a beautiful journey. That's yeah, dude, that makes me hyped to want to go be a professional Counter-Strike player as well. Just the the team, I wish more players in the region were addicted to the competitive side like you are, where it's like I'm addicted to building something with this group of people, because if we were more focused on that in our region, we would genuinely be seeing more results. But like, one of the problems in our region is it feels like every man for himself. And so even when people are on teams with people, there's still kind of that mentality going on. And I
exactly.
understand. I understand that, because it's feast or famine in this game, right? The people who are eating well from this game are eating really well, right? The people who are barely scraping by are putting in 10 times the amount of effort as a lot of those people and still seeing nothing out of it, right? So I get why the mentality exists in our region, but like, if more people had that mentality, my cat is insistent on being a part of this episode now. Uh, if people had more of that mentality in the region, we would just see better results. And I think we would see less of these roster shuffles that occur every few weeks. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree, right? I think when you look at a team like M80, right, who I think it's like, I think it's pretty undisputed that they're like the best team in the region at this point.
yeah,
Um, you look at a team like them, right, and they have this three core: Swisher, Sin, Slacks. These guys have been playing, I don't know, 2 years, something like that, together now, just sticking together, right? I think it's just really important for that to happen. You got to allow yourself that time to grow. You got to allow yourself that time to fail, right? And uh, I couldn't agree more with what you're saying. I really couldn't agree more. I think there is a lot of every man for yourself mentality. I think a lot of that is just cultural as well,
yeah,
because we live in the United States of America, right? I can tell you firsthand, having traveled to many different countries in my life and spent extended periods of time in them, that it's not like this pretty much anywhere else. The United States is pretty much the only place that has this kind of cultural outlook on things, where people are just really about themselves, right? And I understand, again, I understand why that is. Look at the history of the country, how it was built, right? Makes sense, right? But
yeah, yeah. Well, and what that like mentality in NA in our country is not. It's a microcosm of what's happening in greater reality, right? Like, it it doesn't matter. This is not a political statement. It does not matter who you are right now. You know somebody who is struggling to like make ends meet in this country right now. It feels like it's every man for himself outside of the game as well. Like it doesn't feel good right now. So like the fact that it's in the game as well. Okay, Momo. The fact that it's in the game as well isn't really like a surprise, but if we want like if we want to grow as a region, then that's something we need to identify as a region and start like trying to practice better behaviors to combat it, right?
I don't even think like, because again, I understand. I understand the drive for competition. I understand the drive to become better. I understand that this is a competitive game and sometimes moves need to be made to get better.
Yeah.
I get that. And I think it's fine, right? I think to me, the only issue I have that I've seen in this region is mostly just the lack of honesty and the lack of communication, right? It feels like people will, I've seen, I'm not going to say them on this recording, but I've seen some roster moves recently and gotten some kind of, you know, grapevine insider type hearings. And to me, these moves don't make sense. And from what I'm hearing, like people didn't even know this was coming, right? Like there was never even like a, hey, you're messing this up. I need you to fix this. There's none of that, right? It's like
Right.
there's that lack of professionalism within the scene, and people are just gone, and they're just bringing in another player and just recycling this player, and like, yeah, I just think that like, sure, maybe you'll get a little bit better in the short term in this region, but if you want to actually go and compete at the top and make a dent in the international scene, don't think that's it. I think you got to have a mentality. You got to have a team atmosphere where people can actually communicate openly with each other and not be afraid to say how they feel and not have it destroy the team, right? You should be on a team. You should be able to tell someone, hey, I don't like this from you, right? Or I think you're messing this up, or I need you to do a better job of this. You should be able to say that, and that should actually make your team stronger. That shouldn't make your team weaker, right? And I think a lot of it just has to do with going back to our initial conversation, to just the fact that, majority of these people, they just have no life experience, no social skills. They don't know how to talk to people, right? Because they're not spending their young years actually learning how to be a part of society, actually going outside, talking to people. They just spend all their time on the computer and in this e-world. And when you're just stuck in this e-world in your mind all day, every day, you lose touch with reality.
You do.
You lose touch with how to be a human being, how to actually speak to someone, how to actually speak to people the right way, right? You start to think that you could talk to people all crazy and however you want because it doesn't matter. I'm just behind a screen. This is not a real person behind that, but there's real people behind all these players.
Exactly.
Right? And I think that if people could just understand that, like, we would have a much stronger scene, right? There's players in our scene that are really, really talented, really strong players, but they're never going to go anywhere because they don't have those intangibles, because they don't know how to be a teammate. They don't know how to be a human being. So hopefully, the scene can kind of heal a little bit in that sense. I think it does take older players, like me, like, and that's what I try to focus on, right? Like, I'm not a big guy that likes to be really public about things. I don't talk to a lot of people. I don't put myself out there a lot. But I try to pour all this energy that I'm telling you about right now, I try to pour that into the people around me. So I think that is where it starts, right? It starts in the small group, starts in the grassroots parts of the scene of people that do understand this, just pour that energy into the people around you, right? Like, show them how to be. So yeah.
Dude. Yeah. I I I really couldn't agree more. I was sitting there thinking about the fact that like of all these episodes that I've done, over 70 episodes of laying it down with Big D now, we've I've asked that question almost every single time. Or like we've had the discussion about like what plagues NA, and the one thing I never, ever, ever hear is a lack of talent, and because that doesn't exist here. We are brimming with talent in this region. It's just
100%.
everybody is a superstar in their mind, and everybody is the main character, and everybody, like you said, they lack the social skills, and like a lot of these teams too. The sad thing is like they. So it's not as often as you would imagine. I think with teams falling apart because of like somebody's scared to say something. It's how poorly they pass the information along to the person that's doing something wrong, right? No, but like when you throw a tantrum at somebody about what they're doing, it doesn't matter how right you are. It just does not matter how right you are. That person will not receive the information correctly. Like it's not going to be implemented the next time they're doing it. Like, oh yeah, I need to be doing this, right? So like I think it is really important that more people need to be receptive of criticism, right? Like that we need to be receptive of the criticism and not have our feelings hurt because somebody wants to make the team better and say, "Hey, you're doing this wrong. Like let's fix this or whatever." But there also on the other end of that needs to be like the balance of whoever's passing that information along. Like if you're in an emotional state and can't like pass that information without being emotional, then sleep on it and come back the next day when you're not emotional and give that information like appropriately, or like learn how to talk to people, like you said, like go outside and live life, and like stop making this game the focal obsession of everything. Stop playing it 12 hours a day, and you will suddenly start finding you're also really good at communicating with people. Like it all comes back to take care of yourself outside of the game, and you will actually become better in the game. Like this is the
It does come
advice.
back to that.
This is the advice for those like level 10 players. Like this is not the advice for you just started the game and are figuring out how to like counter strafe and like where corners are on dust 2 to clear. This is for the people who like know how to play this game and want to like push it to that next level of like competition. Take care of yourself outside of the game, and your body will reward you inside of it.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. 100%. I could not agree more. That is probably like the number one thing that I could tell anybody, any aspiring player, whether they be like a level 10, whether they be trying to make the next push to pro or wherever you're at, right? Just take care of yourself because it's going to pay dividends in more ways than one. You're going to see
Right.
that in all aspects of your life, not just the game, but it will in the game too, which is what most people are looking for anyway, right? So,
But if the game is everything to you and you want to trick yourself into being really good at it, then go take care of yourself outside of the game and have like a positive life. That's what I'm doing.
yes,
That's the
sir.
big D method these days. And
Yes, sir.
go to LAN. Holy shit. Going to LAN counts as going outside if you can believe it, cuz guess what you're doing at LAN when you're not playing the game? You're socializing.
That's true. That's definitely true. Go to Lance.
How are you feeling about these lands coming up? We talked to your teammate Seabass the other day a little bit about it, and Fragville. How are you feeling about Fragville? And then we can talk a little bit about Blocktober as well.
We're feeling good. I mean, I'm feeling good. I know we're feeling good as a team. Uh, Definitely just trying to go in there and do the best we can. I think Knox is, there's a chance we can win it for sure. Looking at the teams there, it'll be tough. There's a few decent teams there. Um, we could definitely win it, but even if we get, we're just looking for like a pretty high placement, and then Blocktober, I guess it's called, right? Blocktober. That
Yeah.
one obviously it's like, you know, that one's going to be a little bit tougher. I still think that if we get a good draw, we could make a deep run. But it'll be tough for sure. There's multiple tier 1 teams there, European teams. They, these guys obviously play in a region that has a much higher level. They're salaried, whole 9 yards. But I'm looking forward to just getting that experience of just playing against them, right? I was able to play against some kind of like tier 2 or 3 players in Riyadh and get that experience, and it's definitely like they just play a lot differently, and they play a lot better, to be honest with you. Very aggressive, very relentless in the way they play. But no, I'm feeling good though. I'm feeling really good, and I think for us, again, our main goal is just do as good as we possibly can, right? I think for us right now, our kind of like where we're at right now as a team, our main focus is let's not lose to ourselves, right? Because we've had a few games that we lost to ourselves, and that's like the worst feeling as a team, right? Is to lose to yourself. Like if you lose to a team that just played better than you, or they just won a crucial clutch in a close game and you didn't, that's one thing, right? Of course, you're going to feel that pain, but the worst thing is to lose to yourself. So I think that's where we're at right now. That's kind of our focus going into these lands. Like, okay, let's not lose any games to ourselves, right? Because we know that when we're online, we're dialed in, we can show a very high level. But we also know that when we're not, we can show a very low level. So let's make sure that we're taking care of ourselves, and let's make sure that we're showing the level that we know we can show, right? That we're controlling the controllables when it comes to that. So that stuff, like, I think we're feeling good though going into it. We're feeling good and just ready to compete and just ready to play on land, man. Because again, like I said, it's just for me, it's just like it's so much easier to play on land. To be honest, like you're just there. You just see the people. Everyone's on the equal playing field. It's a lot easier to get hyped and excited on land. Sometimes you're just playing these matches over and over online, and it can get monotonous. Even though like it's a match. So yeah, I'm excited to just get there. See my boys, see you, see people, have a good time, and just play the best Counter-Strike that we possibly can.
I'm excited to see you too, John. There's gonna be a lot of hugs going around from Big D, dude. I see you guys like once a month now, once every other month or so. So I gotta get in there while I can. For me it's just the vibes at LAN. Like I've only been to 3 now. This will be my 4th one next weekend, but like these have become some of the most important parts of my life for all the reasons that we talked about. It helps me take care of myself outside of the game. It's me finding that community outside of the game to learn how to socialize better inside of the game, right? Like it's also way easier when you go to these things to have it in your mind when you're sitting and playing online that there's a human sitting on the other end there, and they're a human. That's all you need to know, right? Like the vibes at LAN. I'm just, and from what I've heard too, in 10 years of them doing Fragadelphia's, they've never had like a scandal with like, they've had people do stupid shit because there's a ton of young men hanging out for the weekend, and a lot of them are drinking or smoking or whatever while they're outside of the venue. But there's never been something that's like, they've had to step in and like be the grown-ups. Like everybody acts like an adult for the most part while they're there, and everybody's just excited to be there because of Counter-Strike. Like it's a magical time.
It's just a lot of fun too. Just a great time overall.
Yeah. I'm gonna play in one of these days, and you're gonna have to beat me to get to.
Man.
You're gonna have to beat me to get to the major. That's all I know.
Okay, man. I'll be ready.
Or I'll be on your team, one of the two. If somebody falls out, you let me know when you need a grounded 35-year-old man. Yeah, when you need a big D carry. I was second highest rated player at Frag 19. Keep that in mind. So,
Okay.
And also Alex thinks I'm the coolest person in the world for whatever fucking reason. So uh I I I get along with him as well. All right,
Awesome,
dude.
man. Yeah, I'll keep you in there then.
Good. Well, I only got a couple more questions for you here, and then I think we can go ahead and grip it and rip it on shipping this episode out as the season finale before LAN. Uh, my last two questions I always ask everybody are one, where does your in-game name MDS come from?
So it doesn't come from anything. Like, yeah, when I was a kid and I played the game, all the best players had 3-letter names. There was like Neo, Zet, INS, INS, all these different players, and I just wanted to be cool like them. So I wanted a 3-letter name. So I just started mashing my keyboard with a bunch of different combinations, and then I saw MDS, and I was like, huh, that looks cool. And then I kind of just took it and ran with it. So it doesn't mean anything. It actually means nothing.
Has anybody ever called you, do people call you Mounds?
Yeah, I've been called Mounds before. Mads, Mounds, MDS, MDs,
MD's nuts.
MDs. Yeah, that's what I always think when people say that. But yeah, I've heard Mounds before, definitely. But there's not some
Literally meaningless.
story behind it. It's literally meaningless, yeah.
That's funny. So just a random combination of letters you thought looked cool. All right, well, my last question here for you, and there's been plenty of advice in this episode, but my last question I always ask is, if you could speak to a younger version of yourself and give them some advice, what would it be? It could be life or Counter-Strike or anything related. This is really an opportunity to get on a soapbox and preach.
That's a really good question. If I could speak to a younger version of myself, what I would tell him is, I'd tell him something very simple. I wouldn't say a lot of things. I would say that don't care what people think about you at all. People's perception of you doesn't matter. And the only thing that matters is that you have a vision for yourself and you have a plan of how you want to make that vision come true. And everything else is just noise. Just block it out. That's all I would say.
That's beautiful. Yeah, that's good advice. Have a plan for yourself and stick with it.
And execute.
Execute
have a plan and execute.
And and this is where the term "don't give a fuck" comes in. It not giving a fuck doesn't mean go out and burn the world down and be a terror to everyone around you because you don't give a shit about anything. Not giving a fuck means don't give a shit about what the people around you think about what kind of plan you've set in motion for yourself.
Exactly.
Stay focused and eyes forward. All right, dude, that's all very lovely. This is a wonderful wrap up to the this block of episodes we've done. We'll get back to more when we come back from LAN here in a few weeks. But yeah, thank you for coming on a second time, by the way. You even said in this episode you don't really come on and do this kind of stuff or are here for this kind of thing. You're into focusing on the game and your boys and building the team. So to come not once but twice and do this a second time, I really, really appreciate it. And this has been just as good of an episode as that other one where we had a good talk. So appreciate you coming through, man.
You.
Yeah,
I
dude.
appreciate you, and I wouldn't have come back, if I didn't, this is a great conversation. It's nice to talk to you. So
thank you.
It's a plus for you as well.
I appreciate that, man. Well, yeah, and one last thing here, just like Hot Ones, if you want to this camera, let the people know what you got going on, where they can find you, any shout outs or plugs you want to give here before we head out.
I just want to shout out my team. Shout out Chicken Coop, shout out 40 Air. That guy is just phenomenal organization owner.
I love that guy.
He's just a great guy. All the support that they give us. Shout out my team for working hard every day. Shout out for the people that, the real ones that know about our journey. Yeah, that's all I want to shout out. Just want to say, tip my hat to all those people. Tip my hat to my teammates and say, let's just keep going. Let's keep doing this together.
Got a 0.08% chance of making it to the major, dude. You never know.
0.08, right?
You never know.
Yes, sir.
You never know. All right,
Anything
dude.
is
Well,
possible.
thank you for joining me. Thank you all at home for watching. And that is it. Oh, no.
Don't tell me.
I hit record. Don't